Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show. My name is Doug Cunnington, and in this episode, we are interviewing Jake. And Jake is somebody I met in Steamboat, Colorado. We were at this sort of little entrepreneur retreat, and there were entrepreneurs from all over in different industries and stuff. But we realized we were into niche sites. So turns out Jake has been earning about $5,000 to $6,000 for the last 18 months on his website, which we're going to be able to at least share a little bit about the niche, not the specific site, but we're going to dig into the details. The cool part is he quit his job in August of 2021, and he's been doing this stuff full time and growing the business in different areas, which we've been chatting about. So I'm excited to hear your story. Jake, how's it going today?
It's going excellent, Doug. Thanks for having me.
So let's get into your background just a little bit here. So how did you get into niche sites, and what were you doing beforehand?
Yeah, so I got into niche sites on accident. I started an e-commerce store like right out of college with my buddies, and it was a lot of work. And we didn't make any money. Like we would sell. We was a t-shirt company, so we would sell a couple shirts, and then you'd have to like put that money that you just made into advertising or into inventory, and then you'd sell more, and then you'd put that money back in, and you just keep putting money in. And we didn't know what we were doing, so we failed. We messed up. We all got jobs. The other two guys, they moved to different parts of the country, and then I was like, man, I really want to start another e-commerce store. And my wife and I had just gotten a golden retriever, and I was looking for like pajama pants for like with golden retrievers on them. And at the time I couldn't find them. So I'm like, well, like maybe this is it. Like this is my e-commerce store idea. But first let me kind of learn from my mistakes and start to build an audience. And that's what we didn't do with our first e-commerce business. Like we were just doing free PR, and like we would sell a bunch in a day and then like nothing for weeks. And then we'd get like another interview or podcast and it would spike again. So this time I was like, all right, I'm going to actually build a sustainable audience. So we're going to get consistent sales. So I started the blog about golden retrievers. And then I realized I could make money without dealing with all the headaches of an e-commerce store. No inventory, no like spending money on ads. And I kind of, so far, I've dropped the idea of an e-commerce store just because it's so much easier and it's fun and a lot less headaches when I'm making money straight from content and not from e-com.
Got it. And let's dive in really quickly to some of the, I guess, stats on the site. So how much content is on the site right now?
I think 157 blog posts.
Okay. And then did you write most of it, or did you outsource a lot of it?
I've written probably 120. So it's about golden retrievers, and I'm a marketer. I'm definitely not a dog trainer. And so I've recently hired a dog trainer to write some of the more technical stuff, like, how to stop barking, biting, chewing, that stuff. But like anybody can write a list of golden retriever names or like, things that you need when you first get a golden retriever puppy. So all that stuff I did, but I've recently been getting to a little bit more training stuff. And so she's been helping me with that.
Very good. And with the early writing, so you wrote a pretty good majority of it. Did you have a writing background? Was that hard for you to jump into, especially like the first few that you were writing?
Yeah, so actually I did have a writing background. I love writing. I always wanted to be a writer. My first job out of college I was a personal trainer. And that was where I realized that I like marketing better than training. And I was running the blog. And I was like, this is awesome. I wish that I could only do the blog and the marketing and not have to do the personal training and deal with people. So yeah, I did have a lot of background in writing. And then my last job before I quit, I was the editor-in-chief at a fishing company. So I was doing a lot of writing there.
Okay. And I mean, it sounds like that was a great advantage. Not only did you have some previous skills, but you liked doing it. So do you have any other comments on that? Not a very good question, but just curious, when you talk to maybe people that are starting out, like the advantage that you have, the sort of, the skill that you brought to the table is something that may be harder for other people. So any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was a good writer, but reading some of my older stuff is just terrible. Like it just hurts and it's like embarrassing. So yeah, like yes, it helps to like have some writing experience, but no matter what, like how much experience you have, you're always going to get better. And like, you're always going to look at some of your old posts and be like, that was terrible. Like, what was I thinking? So yeah, I mean, just get started. Just do it. No matter what happens, you're going to start out bad and you're always going to get better.
So let's talk about the traffic as well. So how much traffic are you getting currently? And can you talk about the trajectory? So I think I forgot to ask how old the site is. So maybe you could mention that when you talk
Yeah.
about
So
traffic.
the site is about, I think I started it in 2019, in the spring of 2019. So it just passed 3 years old. Um, I current like the last 30 days, I think I've had 66,000 visitors and 100,000 page views. It's a little bit seasonal. So in Q4, like December, traffic is pretty up, and then January, I think that a lot of people get January like Christmas puppies. So I think that a lot of people are doing their research on like how to train their dog or whatever in January. So there is a little bit of a spike in January. And then also in December, they're trying to figure out, what kind of puppy to get or, all that sort of research. So it spikes in Q4 and the beginning of Q1, and then it kind of drops off. And I didn't know that at first. And I think it was in 2020. I went viral. Yeah, I think it was in June of 2020. I went viral. I wrote a story about the oldest golden retriever, and I went from maybe five, 5 or 10,000 visitors a month, and then in June of 2020, I had I think like 200,000. Um, and it was just like it went crazy. I got backlinks from CNN, People.com, like Southern Living, like all sorts of like really big articles. So that was like a huge spike. And then like if you look at my trajectory, it's like a slow increase and then like a massive spike, and then obviously it went down. But after that, the increase was a little higher. So I ended up having got like 100,000 visitors, 120,000 visitors of June of 2021, and then it kind of went down from there. And I thought that was because um, Google was punishing me. I didn't understand, or not Google was punishing me, but I thought like some big Google algorithm shift happened, but I just didn't understand seasonality. So that like this time of year, like it happened again, and I'm a lot more calm. Like, oh, I'm losing traffic like every day, and my stats are looking pretty bad compared to last month. But now I know why. So it's a little seasonal. So yeah, so Q4 I'll be around 80 to 100,000 visitors, like Q4 in January, and then it'll dip down to like 60 or 70,000 per month.
Can you talk about the first, say, 18 months or so and the traffic trajectory, maybe how much content you were publishing? I know it's maybe a little hard to remember back, a few years ago, but yeah, people are in the sort of early stages or starting a new site. They're working for like 6 or 7 months and they're thinking, I'm behind where I should be, but they don't really have a good concept of where they should be. So how did it work out for you in the first part?
Yeah. So the first few months, I got a lot of shiny object syndrome. I fell into it. I fell into the trap. Um, so I didn't really like. That was like my biggest mistake is just not like going all in early. So I would write a couple articles and then I would stop. So here we go. I've got my little content calendar here. So my first article was actually January 27th of 2019. And then I wrote 12 articles in 2019. So 12 articles in the whole year. I started with one, two, three, four. I took a month off, did another month off, another one, another month off. So like it was really slow starting. And then one of those 12 articles uh, actually ranked number one for like a decently trafficked search term. And so I was getting like 1,000 a month and 1,000 visitors a month. and like 90% was from that one blog post. And so what I kind of found was like with all this shiny object syndrome, I was doing like affiliate marketing, like I was running ads for affiliate products. I did a virtual summit, and so I'm just doing a lot of stuff. And meanwhile, in the background, my blog posts are like actually starting to rank. So I wasn't working on it, but my traffic is going up every day, and every month. Like my traffic is actually looking good. And that was kind of when I realized, like, wow, like this is legit. Like this is actually working. Everything else is like not really working. But like, and not only is this working, but like it's a snowball effect. So like things are getting better and better, and I'm not working on it every single day. Like all the other stuff I was spending every day, like the virtual summit was a ton of work. Like running Facebook ads to an affiliate product was a ton of work, and I was doing that every single day. I hadn't touched the blog in like 6 months, and like traffic was better than ever. I was like, wait, this is like the best the best business model.
That's awesome. I love how you published about one article per month. People feel, I mean, I'm guilty of making this a problem because it's a good headline when I write, someone published 1,000 articles in 1 year, but you published 12. And it sounds like you were busy. When you started getting traction, did you then realize, okay, I'm going to focus on this writing portion of it and stop playing around with these other pieces, which I think it was probably important for you to find out like what wasn't working, like all those other things you were trying. But yeah, so once you realized everything was probably going to be good if you published more content, how did you shift over to that?
Yeah. So in January of 2020, I published 17 articles. So I went from 12 in all of 2019 to 17 in 1 month. That was kind of when I realized, like, hey, I'm going to double down on this. My big goal was to quit my job. I loved my job; it was awesome. Like my boss was awesome, my coworkers awesome, and like I was watching fishing videos for a living. It was great, but like I've always just wanted to like be an entrepreneur and work for myself. So I was like, I got to make this happen, and like this seems like the best thing to do. So I dove all in, and then from like January and February, March and April, I was pretty good, and then I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. I got a little bit more shiny object syndrome. I created an ebook, so that took a lot of time from publishing. At this time, I wasn't really making enough money to hire anybody, hire a writer, and I was trying to save up and like trying to make this my full time job. So I didn't want to hire a writer to do the job that I wanted to do. I like writing, so it wasn't a big deal. But I guess the good thing is that like you can sprint for a little bit, and then like when you leave, those blog posts are still there. And like when you're taking that time off, like they're getting better and better. It's not like they're getting worse and worse. Like if you write an article and then don't touch it for 6 months, like that's the best thing you can do. Like don't look at it, forget it, and then all of a sudden you look in Google Analytics one day and you're like, wow, like this article is ranking well. It's getting like 100 visitors a day or whatever. So when I realized like, hey, like this is my ticket, I started going all in, and it's kind of has snowballed a little bit from there.
And you mentioned when you have gone back and looked at some of the earlier articles, you realize you could do a better job now. So do you have a practice to go back and improve the old stuff yet, now that you're getting over 150 articles on your site?
I have a practice. I don't often do the practice, but I have a system. All I have is like a big Google Doc, and it has like the original publish date, the title, the URL. I've broken it down to like what kind of post is it? Is it like a how-to or a list or whatever? What keyword I'm trying to rank for. I have the author, so like for a long time it was only me. But then after that, I've got another column like when was like the last update, like update 1, update 2, or whatever. And also like did I email this out? So I have a system. I don't do it as much as I should. If I hire an editor, which is or manager, something I'm considering doing, then I'll have them do that. But right now, I think I've mentioned a couple times that I got shiny object syndrome. So right now I have 2 businesses. So I'm mostly just thinking about forging ahead and creating new content versus updating old. But I know like that's probably the biggest thing that I can do right now, like to unlock a bunch of growth, and like probably the lowest hanging fruit right there.
Got it. Okay, I have some sort of quick hit questions. So, about how long is the content if you had to generalize the average word count?
1,800 words, between 1,500 to 2,000, but somewhere around there.
How long do you sort of anticipate it to take for something to rank? So you said you publish it and like don't touch it. So when do you start to look and assess like, all right, this one's working out pretty good. These didn't work out as well as I thought.
Roughly speaking, 6 months. If I find like an obscure keyword that I'm pretty sure nobody has written an article about, maybe a month. I've got a couple of those, but not many. So in that case, and that's just me kind of being, I don't know, greedy is the right word, or like excited. But yeah, I'll start checking the stats for that in like a month. And like that's just like stupid. Like me checking the stats isn't going to do anything. But yeah, for most articles, 6 months. I mean, some of my articles take like a year to rank. If they're for competitive keywords.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot myself too, where you may get a little traction, but it's when you forget about it and stop looking every single day or multiple times a day like we do. And then things work out okay if you're just a little patient and you forget about it. So it's like watch pot doesn't boil. Okay. The other piece that I want to learn about is the revenue after about 12 months. So you said, you started getting more traffic. You only published like one article per month. That first year, you started to double down. So if you could remember sort of different milestones, so maybe 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, just ballpark. I know it's been a while.
Yeah, this is a bit of a sore subject, actually. About 12 months in, I was ranking for like, golden retriever puppy supplies, and I was making like a little over 1,000 on Amazon. And then Amazon changed their commissions, so that I would think I was making like 1,300. So that 1,300 turned into like 400. So so that's why it's a sore subject, because I was like, man, I'm on my way to like quitting my job. Like I only have a small handful of posts, and I'm making a ton of money from Amazon. I haven't even added ads yet, like nothing. It's all Amazon. So yeah, it was at 12 months. It was like 14 months. Was doing about 1,000 that, or 1,200, 1,300, and that got cut to 300, 400, 500. And then I went viral about a year and a half in, about maybe 18 months, probably like 17 months. And I was kind of planning. I was like writing an ebook during that time, and like getting like a little a lead magnet going. And I was like, all right, I'll add ads soon. So I went viral like right before all that happened. So I was a little bummed I missed out on. I had no ads set up there. I'd really like no monetization at all when I got 200,000 visitors in 1 month. So that kind of stunk. But after that, I guess 18 months in, I was getting back closer to $1,000 a month.
Okay. Yeah, I know that was back in April of 2020. I remember that well. And there was, a lot of stuff going on whenever Amazon changes the commission rates in a dramatic way like that. So, and the other part, and that has happened to me two major times. So it was 2017, sounds like a little before you got into the Amazon space. But
what were the cuts in 2017?
Sorry?
How much did they cut your commissions in 2017?
It was about the same effectively, but if I remember right, it has been a few years. Basically, Amazon used to award your commission rate based on the volume of products that you sold. So if you sold a lot of products, it didn't matter what category it was in, you got paid, a higher commission. So if you were selling a lot of stuff, if you have a few sites, for example, I think it was like 8 to 8.5%, which now, I mean, that's like 3x, like what an effective commission rate is these days, which really hurts when you think about the real numbers. You're like, holy cow, it should be making like $25,000 a month or something. And it's way off that pace. So yeah, that one hurt a lot. And for me personally, I had a website for sale with a partner, and we were like in negotiation. So it was like a six-figure like loss for us. Yeah, that one hurt a little
Oh
bit,
my
but
gosh.
it was
Okay, I feel a little better now.
yeah. When you're selling it, like the leverage that you're selling it for, that would
Yeah.
hurt, but it's business. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, it helped me because then I was like, all right, I was only relying on Amazon at that time. And since then I was like, well, I'm going to write an ebook because I don't want to be worried about only Amazon revenue. I also started going to Chewy as well. They have an affiliate program. And then also I was like, let me put ads on my site. Let me diversify a little bit because I do not want this to happen again.
Perfect. Yeah, and I was going to say, you learned a lesson, but it was like probably the cheapest time you could learn it when you're first starting out
Yes.
versus,
Yeah.
if that happened today, it's a little bit different. So it's good that you've learned that lesson. That said, perfect transition to your different monetization. And if you could roughly break down the percentage, just ballpark again, you don't have to give exact numbers here.
Yeah, about 50% from ads, and I'm on Mediavine, so yeah, about 50% from ads, 40% from affiliates, and then 10% from my ebook. That's a yeah, that's a pretty good estimate. 50, 40, 10.
Okay. And is that where you want it to be? Are you trying to shift it in the future? Like ideally, what would you want it to be?
Recently I've been doing more affiliate content. Like when I first started out, I was really only thinking about mostly traffic. Um, I don't know why. I think it was like an ego thing. Like I think I wanted to say, oh yeah, my blog post gets 100,000 visitors a month. So I think it was an ego thing. And I've not to say that I've like tapped out, but um, I've gotten most of like kind of the major keywords that are going to bring in a ton of traffic. So now I'm starting to look for more affiliate kind of related blog posts to publish content on. So yeah, I'm hoping to make more money with affiliates moving forward.
And I expect you're probably looking for other affiliates aside from Amazon. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is accurate. Looking for more courses, and then also a couple other like e-commerce is big because if you have a dog, like you got to buy a lot of stuff. But I'm also looking for like different products to talk about for golden retrievers. So like not I am looking for more stuff on Amazon, but also not on Amazon. It doesn't really matter at this time. Like my niche is pretty small. Like it's only golden retrievers. So I'm really just anything that I can publish about golden retrievers, I'm publishing, no matter if I think it's pretty small or if it's huge or like really competitive. I'm just going for it.
Okay. Is your dog in the room now, by the way?
My dog is not in the room.
Okay. We're
He's
gonna do a little
he's
cameo.
on the couch.
Okay. Georgie was. Oh,
Yeah.
she's sleeping behind me, but she's under the table. She's like, it's like her little cocoon over there. So
I've got a lot of squeaky toys here, so I didn't want him to make an unwanted cameo.
it would have been, usually I yell at the guest if they have any kind of animal like that, but I'm just kidding. I don't do that, but it would be perfect for this one since we're talking
Yes.
so specifically about it. So one thing, people have a hard time choosing a niche, and unfortunately, some people will spend, 2 years in analysis phase and like never pull the trigger. Some people would think that a specific breed of a specific animal is too niche down. Do you have any thoughts on that? Were you concerned like, hey, I'm going to run out of like the market or anything?
Yeah, I mean, one thing like running out of the market, one thing I didn't really talk about is info products. I think niching down like sets you up perfectly for going deeper than going wider. So I can cover like every single topic that you ever thought about with golden retrievers, and I can create a course. Like I said, I hired a dog trainer to write some more blog posts, and I'm hopefully in the future going to have her create a course for me. So in that case, like it doesn't matter as much if Amazon hits me, or even if Google hits me. I have an email list, and if I have a course that's $100, $200, that will kind of save me from a lot of adversity, I guess. So in that case, like, no, I'm not too worried about niching down, and everybody says, like, riches are in the niches, and I've really taken that to heart. Um, so I like, I appreciate that. And it just makes things easier. I don't have to do that much research. Like, if I was to do, like, just dogs in general, you can definitely get like analysis paralysis because you have tons and tons of things to write about. You also have lots of competitors. You also have, like, you just have to research a lot when you're writing, but like, I'm not saying I know everything there is to know about golden retrievers, but I have a lot of knowledge about golden retrievers. So it just makes like writing a lot faster because I don't, if I was doing social media, like I might have to know a lot about Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and YouTube, and podcasting and everything else. So, like, I'd just have to do a lot of research, but picking one niche has really saved a lot of time in the research because I know it so well. So it makes writing a little easier and a little faster. But yeah, as far as like, being worried about it, I have seen a couple times recently, I've talked to a couple guys that have really like broad niches, and they're just going for like the volume, and they've been winning that way. And that's been interesting. So I have been getting a little jealousy there, just because, like, man, you can write so many articles there. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my decision, and not too worried about it.
And it's something like you were interested in anyway. Like you were thinking about it. You were having, you guys had questions, I suspect, about, raising a young pup and all that. So
Definitely.
one other area, just kind of related to choosing a niche, how far outside, like, could you go? And I just have a quick example. Like, there's some breeds, like a golden doodle, right? So it's like a cross between like a poodle. Is that right? A poodle
Yeah.
and I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so it's closely related. There's some probably overlap. Like, would you cover a couple topics around a golden doodle or similar?
I could. One thing I have done a little bit is puppy stuff. But I actually have an interesting, this is a story about YouTube specifically, but I'm trying to focus on golden retrievers. One of the big mistakes that I made earlier was I wasn't really confident in my decision to niche down. First I didn't know, and then I was like, I still want to do like puppies and golden retrievers, and so on YouTube, I made a video about like how to get your puppy to stop crying in the crate, and that started to rank like number one for that. And so I would get a ton of traffic to that site, and a ton of people were just general puppy owners. And then when I started publishing stuff about gold retrievers specifically, they didn't care. And so, like, probably more than half of my subscribers on YouTube are like, don't have a golden retriever. And I think that has really hurt me, because, it's not, every time I publish a video, half the people say, no, I don't care. And that's definitely not what the YouTube algorithm wants. And then, like, kind of same with on Google as well. I don't want to really be bringing in people that aren't gonna, like, I'm not really gonna serve them well. Like, they're gonna read one article on my site and then leave. And I'm kind of thinking about an info product, and if I'm only talking about golden retrievers, then that info product is kind of for everybody. So I could go a little bit of puppy stuff, a little bit of golden doodle stuff. When I feel like I've maxed out, then, like, every single content idea that I can, then maybe I'll go into that. But for now, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not really gonna branch out for now.
Great. Okay. Let's, I guess, kind of go back. So we've talked pretty specifically about some of the content. Let's talk about keywords. So we've danced around the niche. We talked about content. So with the keyword research, can you talk about your approach? It sounds like you mentioned specifically some pretty long tail keywords. So I'll just turn it over and let you tell us about how you approach keywords.
Yeah, so I don't have like a really like a fancy approach to keywords. Just doing mostly the Google autocomplete. I have keywords everywhere, the plugin, and that helps me kind of guesstimate search volume. So that's really all I'm doing. If I find a keyword that seems like a lot of people are searching for, I usually don't look at competition because maybe this is just like me being cocky, but like I feel like I'm going into this with a mindset that I'm gonna have the best blog about golden retrievers on the internet, and I don't care about competition. I'm gonna beat them out. I'm gonna have the best blog and the best content about that. So and that's like because I'm so niche, like I don't really have a choice. Like yeah, like I there are a lot of articles that I don't think I'm gonna rank for, or that I think that I may not rank for. But like if I don't write articles for all those, then I'm gonna be left with like very few ideas. So I'm going swinging for the fences on everything. And when my blog first got started, it was my like 12th article. Started ranking for like a really competitive topic, and it was ranking number one. I think maybe it was ranking for the snippet, one of those two. But I was getting 1,000 visitors a month, and I only had like 13 blog posts on my site or 12 blog posts on my site. And so, and yeah, I guess I just got lucky with the competition there. But yeah, mostly Google autocomplete. Sometimes pairing that with keywords everywhere to kind of find the volume. I also look at Facebook groups. So if I think that I have a good title or good keyword, then I will search that into a Facebook group or on Reddit, and to see like, are people talking about it? Like, do people have questions about that? Like, if somebody posts, let's say I'm thinking about like golden retriever flea and tick medicine. I might just like search golden retriever flea and tick medicine in a Facebook group with golden retriever owners, and see like, are there a lot of people liking and commenting on that? Are a lot of people talking about that? If I'm like seeing like nothing, no action, then maybe I'm not going to write that blog post, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of kind of concerns or questions about that. So really keywords everywhere, Google autocomplete, and then forums and Facebook groups.
And you said you really don't do any sort of competition analysis, right? So
Yeah.
you see if there's much activity around it. You probably have some intuition about whether or not it's a good keyword. Anything else you look at, or just those few things?
Not really. I mean, I've really, really simplified my approach to find good keywords and create the best content to it. I don't try to overthink it. I do try to, if I find a good keyword and it looks like there's a lot of competition, I'm going to work probably extra hard on that. I'm going to do a little bit more research, and I'm going to really, really try to make that the best article on that topic possible.
So let's talk about that specifically. You did come from a writing background. It sounds like you had a pretty good amount of practice in that craft specifically, and you were trying to do a good job. So you mentioned a couple times having, quote, the best content for that topic. What does that mean to you? Is there some sort of criteria that you can go through that can help people sort of, and I'm asking for like the checklist, like what are the top 3 things? I hate these kind of questions sometimes, but yeah, for you, when you write it, what are you trying to make it so that it is better than everything else out there?
Yeah, I mean, first I'm looking at, what other articles are out there, like what are they covering? And that kind of tells me like what Google wants people want, or what Google wants that article to cover. So I'll look at that. I'll just like look at all their subheads. All as I'm writing my draft, I'll put all their subheads in there, and then I'll search that keyword on forums and on Reddit, on Facebook groups, and see like, okay, like this is what Google wants, and like this is what the people actually want, and I'll kind of cross reference those. Just really trying to figure out like what do people actually want to know about this topic, and then that'll help inform what I'm going to write about. And then with writing, I want to be clear. I don't want to ramble. I want to be succinct. And I just want to give them the value that they came for. Um, Sometimes that leads to, or at least for me, it feels like I'm, boom, this is like an 800 word post. And like, I just kind of know that's not going to rank, at least now, or at least looking at my understanding of Google. So, and I don't want to like keyword stuff, or just like ramble. So what I'll do is I'll think of like objections and FAQs, and like I'll put an FAQ at the bottom, or if I'm writing about like how to train your golden retriever to stop jumping, you might say, here's how to train your golden retriever to stop jumping, and then most people think this, but it's really this. So trying to tell stories and refute objections to hammer home my point. I'm not going off like on tangents on different subjects. Like I'm only sticking to that one subject, but attacking it from different angles, so that if anyone reads this, they're going to be blown away and they're going to be like, wow, this is really helpful. I really feel empowered to go and tackle this. And I know all about this now.
You have a particular approach for titling, and a lot of people would just, take the keyword, maybe add a little something in there. How do you approach the titles, and how does that maybe help them rank or help the piece be more engaging?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier I have two businesses right now. One is a golden retriever blog. The other one is a newsletter about how to write better YouTube titles. So I'm studying what makes people click, especially on YouTube. But that works really well for for blog posts, and also for email subject lines. I mean, it's just psychology. It's how do you get somebody's attention. So with Google specifically, a couple of things that you can do to write better titles, is one, to like make it timely. So like slap like the current year at the back of your title. So if you're trying to rank for like how to start a podcast, you would say how to start a podcast in 2022. And so people, because those things like that are always changing. And so you want, if I'm a user, I want to know, okay, this is working right now. So in 2022 is like the easiest thing that you can do. And especially for products, like if you look at, best hairbrushes or best microphones on Google, most of them are probably going to have the current year at the end of that blog post. So including the current year is a really good one, especially for products. You can also refute an objection. So you might, like if you're doing dog training, how to train your dog without using a clicker, or like how to train your dog without dominating them. Just trying to think of like, what is the biggest thing that, like the biggest objection that people have, like their excuse to why that's not working. And then if you refute that in the title, or if you kind of take away their excuse, then they have no excuse to not click your, not read your article. And then also to, they're going to feel empowered. They're going to be like, okay, like this person knows me. Like this is my big hang up here. This is why I haven't taken action. So they're going to feel better about that. And also, so there's refuting an objection. There's timeliness, and then you can also do X versus Y stuff. So like, Instagram versus TikTok. Which social media channel should you start on? So those things work well. X versus Y work well because you're joining the conversation in somebody's mind. Somebody's already thinking that. So that's easy. But then with the timeliness, including the year and refuting an objection, you have the keyword up front, and then you're adding something at the end to kind of increase the click-through rate. So, you're doing what Google wants. You have the keyword there, like it's clear, like the user knows exactly what that is. And then also you're going to increase the click-through rate at the end. So that's, a couple easy tricks to write better titles. They're simple, and, they work well. And just like look at what is ranking already, and try to see like, why are they ranking? Like, is it a number? Is it a list? Is it like a how-to? Like, what exactly is making people click, and what does Google want? And then just kind of deliver on that.
Perfect. And once you get, the handful of tips or the handful of sort of formats of a title, can you pretty much just go back to that again and again and again? Or do you need to keep changing it up for some reason?
Yeah, I mean, I usually go back to that again and again and again. And that's because most of my blog posts are stories or explanations, or like, or sorry, not stories. They're how tos, or explanations or reviews. So, so that's kind of like just a template that like you can kind of rinse and repeat. Like just plug in like best leashes, best collars, best harnesses. So yeah, like you can pretty much follow the same exact template for all those. So yeah, and then really trying to figure out what people are searching for, what's the best way to deliver that information. And yeah, usually it is a list or something because people have proven that they like those.
So anything else content wise that I didn't ask you that I should have and that you want to mention?
Um, I think just knowing your audience. And like I don't know how you'd ask that, but like yeah, like just knowing your audience, knowing like their fears, their desires, so that you can speak to them and connect with them, in a way that they're like, wow, I love this site. Now I'm going to go back and like and read everything. Or I love this site. I'm not going to go back to Google and read another article about this thing. All those are signals to Google that say that like, hey, people like this site. Maybe you should rank this blog post higher. So yeah, just knowing your audience, spending time reading other articles, talking to people in your audience, spending time reading what they're saying on forums and Facebook groups and Reddit. Uh, just trying to figure out what they really want, what their biggest fears are. Yeah, I mean that's the best thing that you can do if you're writing content.
So link building. We haven't talked about it so far. I'm not sure if you do much link building or promotion or how you approach it. So yeah, what'd you do on this particular site?
Yeah. On this particular site, I got lucky with the article going viral, and that was honestly just complete luck. Definitely couldn't do that, or it would be a lot of work and to do it again. I'm gonna try, but it's just I'm gonna get lucky if it happens. But I do every year. It's like the golden retriever owners report. Um, so I send out a survey. I have an email list. I'll send it out through the email list. Recently, I've paid people on Instagram, or a couple people on Instagram, to like share the survey link. And I built a little bit of relationships with people who have, or I guess dogs who have like big Instagram followings to share it. So yeah, I've had 600 people the past 2 years fill it out. And I'll ask questions like, what's your dog's name? So then when I write an article about like best names for golden retrievers, I have like data to say, hey, here are the top 20 names for golden retrievers in 2022. Or, um, you know, here, here's how many people have pet insurance. Here's how many golden retrievers have pet insurance. So, so one, like, people like to rank those because it's like, it's actual data, it's original research. So it's hard to refute against those. And, if you're making a case, then to have that data is great. So other articles will link to that. And then also, it's research for like all my articles moving forward, like for the rest of the year. I'm constantly referencing those studies. And also I get leads from that. I'll get 200 or 300 like new leads from there. I ask questions about products, so I make a lot of money from those because when everybody's sharing them, then I'm asking like, what's your favorite vacuum for your golden retriever? Like, so then I have data to support that. So people are like, oh, well, let me buy this vacuum because this is the most important one, and that's what I'm looking for. So yeah, just that's the biggest thing I do, and it's once a year. Golden Retriever Owners Report. I also have like a puppy weight calculator. That hasn't done too well for me, but that's a linkable piece of content. And yeah, I'm on the hunt for couple more things, but I'm not worried too much about links. I should be more worried. I should be putting more work into it, but right now I'm not.
Got it. And it sounds like you don't do any like intentional outreach. You're just creating these linkable assets generally, and then getting lucky by going viral. But yeah, you're not doing any like other outreach, right?
No, I'm not. That's definitely something that I should do, or I want to do, but I'm not. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the link building is important, but the key thing that you're doing here that I think most people are either too lazy or they don't think that they could pull it off is the survey and the original data. And I mean, you cited the awesome benefits that you get from doing that, but I would say like if you went around and you did let people know about it, you would get, probably I'm just making it up, but you get like 5 times more links than whatever you have right now, just because people are like aware of it. And it could
Yeah,
be, it could be through working with those influencers again to just like have them share it out and then more people are aware of it. That could be a total dead end, right? I mean, you could get a little traffic, which is kind of nice, but it could be a total dead end. But if you did, keep reaching out and letting people know about it, and it could be, it could be something like maybe trainers that specialize in golden retrievers, so they would be interested in sharing it on their blog, or vets. And I'm trying to think of things that are where there's, hundreds of different people that you could contact, and it would be pretty easy. Maybe it's a vet that sends out a newsletter occasionally, and you're like, oh, can you share it on your newsletter? This is original data. I'm just a, one dude, doing my thing here. And, it's not like a big conglomerate or anything like that. So those would be just a couple ideas. The other part is, do what is fun. So if you're like dreading, like trying to send out outreach emails and you don't have to, then don't do it. Like you're getting some links anyway, and there's no reason to like push a boulder uphill if you could do something that's more enjoyable and things are fine. I mean, you have a handful of links.
yeah. I mean, that's definitely something that I need to be doing. I did a little bit of outreach for the report every year, and it does okay. I haven't been getting a ton of a ton of links from that. So I was kind of like discouraged a little bit, but you're right. Like I didn't exactly put my best foot forward. So I'm not saying it didn't work. It's saying my like initial like first little try of doing that didn't work very well. So then I was like, well, let me just like do what I know and do what I know works a little bit. But yeah, I mean that's outreach especially for the owner's report is definitely something I need to be doing more.
And just the concept, right? Because I was thinking back to some of my early days of internet marketing, and I would hear people say, hey, if you become like the hub of something and you organize it, a lot of people don't want to do it. And I just remembered I had an idea a while back where I like get together with my peers and do like, it could be whatever niche you're in. So you just get together and you're like, hey, I'm putting together the information and the survey, and share it with your audience. I'll share the data with everyone. You link up and point to it, and you get links from that, but then everyone else is like citing your original stuff, and you become the authority, even if you come out of nowhere and you're not really an authority, because you put it together. Like you are the organizer, and then all of a sudden it pushes you up into a different level, which I mean you kind of did. And it would be a little different to work with like direct competitors in your specific niche, but I bet there are like dedicated magazines or people that are influential in the space that you could work it out so that it's not a direct competitor and you all like help each other out. So I don't know if there's anything there. Any other thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, just, as far as traffic goes, who has the biggest audiences is Instagram influencers. And, and like they're sharing it on their stories. and like I'll get a big bump. Like, yeah, I interviewed some woman, and she shared it on her Facebook and her Instagram, and I got like 4,000 people that day from her. Um, so it was a huge bump. But then, it's a Facebook link and an Instagram story link, like they're gone. So it does kind of stink, but but it does a good job of getting the word out. And another thing I've been doing is I've been doing a lot of YouTube videos recently for the Golden Retriever blog, and I'll mention the study in there a lot. So as that grows, I'm kind of making like some pretty like bold claims, and I mentioned it in almost every video. So I'm hoping that that's going to start to get the word out there more too.
Very cool. All right. Anything else link building or promotion wise in general?
Um, Promotion. I've got a lead magnet, and I'm building my email list. That's really kind of just like the only thing promotion wise. So it is nice. I've got 4,000 people on my email list. So every time I publish a new article, I'll get 200 to 500 people on that article that day, because I'm sending it out to my email list. And same thing with YouTube videos. And if I do like, if I'm promoting another product, which I very, very rarely do, then that's been good. So yeah, so an email list is a nice little bonus there.
All right. And did you start building the email list like right from the get go, or when did you add that to the mix?
So I built the email list right after I went viral. I was in the process of building it when I went viral. So yeah, I missed out on a lot there. But yeah, I started the email list about a year and a half after I started.
Okay. And do you happen to know just like the general conversion rate or whatever it is however you're tracking it? And if you don't know it, that's okay.
The conversion rate is low. So my lead magnet is a potty training cheat sheet. And so this is a little bit of a kind of maybe an issue with my site, is that I talk about golden retrievers of all ages, and the people, there's only a small section of people who have or who need the potty training cheat sheet. If they're specifically, if they have a puppy, or if they're about to get a puppy. So yeah, maybe I think like 0.5%. Like it's pretty low. I haven't done too much optimization around it. So yeah, probably 0.5%.
Okay. So as we're wrapping up here, we're going to get away from the nitty gritty of the site specifically. You quit your job in, I guess, last summer. So we're coming up on a year. Obviously, that's a huge impact to your life. Can you talk about that a little bit, and then any other impacts the website has had on your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. I remember I was talking to my wife, and like this was before like I started actually like making money with it. And I was like, yeah, I think I might be able to make like $500 a month. Like that'd be great. And she was like, wow, that could really help us. Like just $500 a month extra was like so big for us, because we were like, man, that's like our car payment. That'd be so cool. And here we are. I just made $6,000 for the first time, like 2 months ago. And I'm like, yeah, this is this is great. So yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Like no words. Literally, like, you kind of like you dream about things, and you're like, and then like when you actually achieve that goal, oftentimes it's not as good as like you thought it was going to be. But working for myself and like just writing about golden retrievers for a living is is like definitely as cool as I thought it would be. It's so much fun. I mean, it's like a video game, and like life is so much like less stressful. I feel like I have so much more freedom. We met in Steamboat Springs, and if I had a full-time job, like what am I going to like say to my boss? Like, yeah, I'm going to go like hang out with a bunch of entrepreneurs for a weekend. Like, do you mind if I like take Thursday and Friday off? He's probably not going to be, too happy that I'm taking off to learn about, how to make my own money. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
It's very cool. It's funny. I had a similar conversation with my wife, and I was trying to make like $300. And then we had this, we were on a road trip. Actually, we had this long conversation when I made 500. I'm like, this is insane. Like, I think I could make a little bit more, and it escalates so quickly, like you've seen. And yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. So that's fantastic. So what tips do you have? You've given so many tips, but if you have any broad general tips for people that are looking to replicate your success, any advice that you can give them?
This is kind of boring, but like start and don't quit. I honestly feel like anybody in the world could make $1,000 a month with a website. Like you don't need to be that smart. You don't need to be like a great writer. All the information is out there. You gave me a lot of tips. Even in this call, you gave me a lot of good tips. So like, just like do it and like, don't quit. And like, one thing that has really been great for me is falling in love with like little wins. So this is like good and bad, but I check like Google Analytics all the time. And sometimes at night, like when I write a blog post, like I'm celebrating that, like, boom, like another blog post. Like I'm trying to get to 300 blog posts and I'm at like 150. So I celebrate every little blog post. Like that is a big win for me when I press publish. It's not a big win like if it ranks or if it makes money. Like I'm obsessed with having these little wins that are like that are in my control. And then like with Google Analytics, like I remember I was visiting a buddy in Alaska. It was a couple years ago, like when I first got started, and I like checked the site and I was like, oh man, I got 8 visitors today.
Yeah.
Like I just like I was sitting on his couch. We're in Alaska. It's like 11 p.m. It's like still light outside because it's in Alaska in the summer. And I had 8 visitors that day, and like that is nothing. Like, but I was so excited, and just like I think having the ability to get excited about publishing a blog post and to get excited about 8 visitors, I think that'll help you win. Like, I texted my mom like, hey, I made $1.50 today. And this was like 6 months after working hard on the blog. Yeah. And $1.50 in 6 months that's nothing. But if you get excited about like the process and about the little wins, then I think you can make it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And sometimes people may hear it as like the leading and lagging indicators. So it's really hard, especially if you publish content. And like you said, Jake, it may take like 6 months to a year for it to fully sort of mature and get the traffic that it has the potential to get. And if you're just looking at the lagging indicators, those results, you could be really discouraged. You can make weird decisions, but like you said, you can control how much you're publishing and what your target is. And then luckily, because you've had the track record before, you're moving in the right direction. But yeah, it's like the systems thinking versus like goals. And it's really hard to only focus on the goals because our results are so far behind. Our brains aren't built to like look that far ahead and be like, all right, just be patient. So yeah, great tip. Now,
yeah, I told my mom to, like, she retired and like, she still she still wanted to make a little bit of extra money. And like, I told her like, hey, like you should start a website. And then, I did tell her like, you're not going to make any money for a year. Cause she was like, oh, all we need is like an extra $1,000 a month. And I was like, yeah, like just work at it for a year and like, you'll get there. And she was discouraged at the fact when I told her it was going to take her a year. And then a year later, she was still having the same problem. She's like, man, like I wish I could just make an extra $1,000 a month. And I was like, Mom, like I told you to do this a year ago. Like if you had taken action then, like you would be like so thrilled right now. But like she didn't.
It's tough. You tried to raise them right, but
that's right.
So before we finish up, it sounds like you did everything right. Maybe you jumped around a little bit to the shiny objects in your first year. Any mistakes that you made so that we could bring you back down to earth? Yeah, anything small, big, anything you want to share here?
Yeah, I agree with you. I did do everything right, but I just did it way. I did it like I did all the steps, but I just did them way too like. It took me so long to do them. Like, yes, I wrote 100 articles, but it took me like 2 years to do it. So
Yeah.
if I had done everything but just like actually focused, then then I would have had success so much faster. And even now, like I'm still not focused, and like I know this blog could be doing $10,000 a month if it had my full attention, but it doesn't. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of my biggest mistake is not focusing, is getting is hopping around, getting shiny object syndrome. I think I think that's definitely my biggest mistake, is not focusing early enough. I don't think I made too many others. I mean, this is well, actually, maybe I have a .co domain. What do you think about .co versus .com domains?
I think it's probably okay these days. It's a lot more common and it's not the worst thing in the world. So I think I take it the .com is taken, or someone's just sitting on it.
Yeah, the .com is taken, and I think it's like a retirement home or something for my domain.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and that's obvious. Like I have had success with the .co. Um, Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I wonder, would it be different if I had a .com? I don't know. You know, and obviously, like there's really no way to know. But I have had success with the .co. So that's fine. So that might be a mistake, but really just like focusing and like is like a lack of focus is my biggest mistake. I mean, this is kind of like an easy business model, right? Like you write good articles and you publish them, and you write good articles and then you publish them, and like then you get backlinks to those. Like it's really like simple, so it's kind of hard to mess up, at least in my opinion.
Perfect. All right, Jake, this has been awesome. Hopefully we could have you back on, get an update sometime in the future. Where can people find you?
Yeah, if you can find me at Twitter at jthomas __. You can also just search for Jake Thomas on Twitter, and then you will see a guy in a hat and a really cute golden retriever. So that'll be me. And then also, if you want to write better titles, if you're on YouTube, or even if you're not, and you just want to learn more about what makes people click and like how to get people's attention, creatorhooks.com is my newsletter, where I break down 5 YouTube videos every week that did really well. I also have a flop of the week. So like showing, hey, like this video like did really bad. Like here's why, like they messed up in the title. So I've been using that, like those learnings, to write better email subject lines, write better blog post titles, even like write better like subheads, and write better like bullet points in my intro. So yeah, it's all about just what makes people click, and that's creatorhooks.com.
Cool. Maybe you'll feature one of my videos for the flops one week.
Maybe.
All right, man. We'll link everything up so people can get to your stuff and check it out. And thanks again, Jake. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Doug.